time. Stop it. Turn that coffee machine off. Turn that coffee machine off. Okay, here we go. Let's grab a seat. Make ourselves at home.
Get someone up there.
Question? Oh yeah, cool, perfect. All right, we're almost ready. Ready to take our seats, ladies and gentlemen, take our seats. Don't be shy, come on up front, come up close, and we'll get the proverbial show on the road. I wore special shoes for the occasion. Okay. Well, welcome to day 3. Sadly, our last day. Oh, yep, let's start the clock. All right, clock has started. Day 3, our last day, and I wanted to open up day 3 with a couple of themes in mind. One is being thankful, being thankful. Who was here on Friday? Show of hands, who was here on Friday? Witnessed that unfortunate incident that occurred? Okay, yeah, wow. I thought I'd just give us a brief explanation of what occurred at that particular time. You see, let's see if I can get this to work correctly. All right. So at one point in time, I was diagnosed terminally ill. I was given 3 months to live. This was probably about 12, 13 years ago. And you know, that sort of sucked. So I sold everything I had. I traveled the world trying to stay alive because there was no cure, there's no treatment, there's nothing for it. They got nothing for you. You get it and die, or you have to have a liver transplant because I had liver disease. And the chances of getting a transplant, for those of you unfamiliar with the transplant community, are next to 0. Because there are so many people in need, whether it's liver, lungs, kidneys, heart. Getting a transplant is like winning the lotto. So I was just traveling around the world trying to stay alive. They gave me 3 months to live. I didn't tell anybody for a year. I managed to stay alive 2 years and 9 months, and then I just came to the end. But I was one of the lucky ones. I received the transplant. This is when I was sick. I was hooked up to all this equipment, and as crazy as I am now, I was even crazier then. I'm about 4 weeks from death there. I'm hooked up to all that equipment, and I have to be 600 kilometers away. The team captain of an ultra-marathon team. And I'm supposed to be in the hospital for the next week, and I had to come down and unhook all this equipment. I just jumped in my car and drove, and they thought I was crazy. But anyway, so this is a liver transplant, for those of you who are not familiar with how it goes. Close your eyes, kids. And that was me. Right now, you see me, I'm 96 kilos. That's 54 kilos right after my liver transplant. 54 kilos, 29 different medications. Yeah, you know, life sort of sucked at that point in time. So that's why I'm very thankful now. And we should all be thankful every day. This is the medication. Now this brings me to Friday. So I take a lot of medication. And over the course of time, I have to take less and less and less medication as my body gets used to immunosuppressants. So what happens when they haven't got the medication right was that little incident we saw on Friday. Just that little boo we saw on Friday. That's sort of what happens, right? So that's basically what happens. So yeah, it's just the last 6 months because I need less and less and less medication. It's been 9 years. So if I take too much medication, then for some reason I have these grand mal seizures, which is, yeah, not very cool. But anyway, yes. So just want to explain that. Just want to show that to you. Now, side effects of my drugs, as you saw, I just wanted to. Side effects of transplant drugs. There's this. There's this. There's this. There's this. No, that's just the side effects for one of the drugs I take. Just for one of them. So yeah, it has its ups and downs. But the up is I'm alive. So I'm pretty happy about that. So the other stuff really doesn't matter. So yeah, again, that's 6 months. When I was in the hospital, I was pretty miserable. And then somebody told me about they have actually athletic competitions for people who get transplants. They have a national championship. Every country has a national championship, and there's a world championship. So I was sort of miserable, and I thought, okay, I'll live for that. If I get to compete again. But unfortunately, unfortunately, you can't compete. You have to wait a year before you compete. And the next games is like in 6 months. So I filled out the appropriate forms, forged the doctor's name, and won 6 months later, won the U.S. 100-meter championship. Now, that was sort of fun. The only non-fun part about that was, I came across the line, yeah, the champ, collapsed and went right to the hospital. So, yeah, a little bit of a humor failure there. People were not exactly impressed. But, and now I run Masters for Romania. I compete for Romania in Masters athletics, and I'm just thankful to get up every morning. So I'm thankful to be here at this conference. I'm thankful to meet everybody here. Even when there's a traffic jam, I'm thankful because there's lots to be thankful for. I hear a lot of people who get upset or complain and life sucks, etc., etc. But until you're lying in a bed with mom and dad around, your priest coming to give you last rites, yeah, the only place you can go from there is up. So my sort of message for the day is to make sure that we can always be thankful for what we have. It may not be much, it may be a lot, but the most important thing we have is our health, right? The most important thing we have is our health. So I just wanted to tie that into Friday's little misunderstanding. All right, so, now we can just, there's a long version, that's the short version. Okay, we're gonna, now we just need to set up for, can I grab let's grab up some stools here for our first panel. So today, didn't bring my glasses, but today we have one panel, 6 keynotes, and a startup moment. All right. So in our first panel, oh boy. In our first panel, keynote, how to stay viable in the sports media market. A lesson from emerging countries. Our first guest from the UK, where is Ming? Ming Zhao? Yes? Oh, all right, come on up here. Ming, our panel coordinator, UK project coordinator at Super Sports, China. All right, our next guest, Radu. Oh, he's gonna kill me. It's only been like 15 years, but he'll forgive me. And then we have our other Radu, Restivan. There's Deanne, all right. Come on up here, gentlemen. How you doing, man? How are you? I'm good. You know, life is good. We alive and well, and, you know, I got up this morning. So. As long as we are alive? As long as we're alive, man. Life is song we're singing. You can steal my mic. This is what
we also have another guest speaker called Orsolya. I'm sure some of you already met her yesterday. Let's welcome Orsolya. Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning. Last night, I'm sorry to keep you awake on a Sunday morning. I've never been an early bird in my life, so it's 9 o'clock in here, 9 a.m. But I travel from England, so my body is still 7 a.m. Right? Okay, how's last night? How many of you went out last night? Very good, okay. I had a really good time. Very good, fun engagement with some of the guys. Maybe I didn't too much. Let's start Sunday morning with some morning exercise. Can I ask all of you in the room stand up, please?
Morning exercise.
I can see some people in the back. Very good. Yeah. Right. How many of you are from Romania? If you're from Romania, please sit down. Okay, so we have a few people left in the room. Let's start from the... Right, let's start from the far corner. Well, the gentleman just sat down.
80%.
Back. Yeah, the gentleman in blue, please just sit up. Yeah, stand up again. So tell us where you're from, you can sit down.
I am from Romania.
You're from Romania, all right, okay. Right, let's start from this side, the back row. The gentleman in black shirt.
Croatia.
You're from Croatia, thank you. Welcome, from delegate from Croatia. Next gentleman.
Also from Croatia.
From Croatia, okay, you can both sit down. Next one.
Also
Croatia, another Croatian delegate.
from the country of the World Cup finalists. Thank you. Where's Wim?
Yeah, the gentleman in black, in white.
Not a World Cup finalist, but the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Didn't even play.
From Hungary. From Hungary. Okay, welcome. This lady here? Yeah. From Serbia. From Serbia. Yeah. From Ireland. From Ireland. And this lady from Turkey. We have Turkey. Take a seat now. And this from Turkey. Okay. Turkey as well. Welcome.
Ming,
From the back. Yeah.
Ming, Jerry Springer.
Spain, Slovakia, thank you. Yeah. From Spain, welcome. Moldova. Okay, what about Orsolya, where are you from?
I'm from Hungary, but I live in Austria.
You live in Austria. Okay. Anyone else from China? Okay, welcome to this morning session. Because it's Sunday morning, it's early. We don't want to give you guys a lecture. It's too early for a lecture or lesson. So don't be misled by the title of the session. Right? This session is mainly about experience sharing. Because myself, I'm originally from Beijing, the capital of China. And we have three guests here from Romania and Hungary. Because as emerging markets, we have so many similarities as we think. For all the attention, all the eyes on Western, those developed markets, US, UK, Western Europe, on so many occasions, we just don't realize we have so many similarities. We have very similar modern history, similar social systems, or even mentality. So this lecture is more about personal stories, personal experience, so we can share. After this session, I hope all of us can know each other a bit more about each other's country. So let's start from our guest from Radu. Tell us a little bit about your background. What do you do now?
Right now I'm a sports commentator for Eurosport, but I'm working also for Romanian Basketball Federation, and we started a new project last year, after Eurobasket 2017, which was a huge success in terms of organizing in Cluj, with 3 games sold out in a gym with about 10,000 seats. And for us, for the Federation, it was a huge success, but we thought afterwards, what are you going to do next? We have a contract with the Digisport, which is one of the largest sports channels in Eastern Europe, but they are broadcasting only 3 games per round. Other 3 games in first league for men were free. So we thought, what are we going to do next? Let's build TV, online TV, live streaming games. And at first it was something very simple, with one camera, but with Commentator. And we built this up upon quality. We needed the graphics. We need to be in every gym we want, because we have games in Cluj, we have games in Orada, that means 400 kilometers away from Bucharest. And we had a partner, Bliss Technology, and they are doing remote production for live streaming, which is kind of the first in Romania. They are doing it. And after we managed for a couple of months to broadcast many games, well, what are we going to do next? Because we didn't have a partner back then to sustain our project. We have product cost, you know. So we associate with one of the largest websites in sports in Romania, which is prosport.ro. And by the time people were able to see us on that website, the money started to came from the sponsors, and we had a big sponsor, a bank. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the bank. It's okay for you? Okay, it's Banca Transilvania. And they said, we are together with you, because after 2-3 months, the quality of the broadcast was like on TV. 3 cameras, 3 layers of graphics. At any time on the screen you can see all the sponsors, which is not like on traditional TV. So we kind of migrate from traditional TV, I'm a TV producer for more than 15 years, to web streaming, live streaming. And for this season, we try to improve and to grow organically at the level of production. So we're going to do also highlights, and I'm going to tell you about the highlights for nowadays, for these days. And we're going to try to do also talk shows. It's very important to promote the live game. Okay, we have a live game, but people need to know where it's going to happen, what is going to happen, and they like to see many opinions from professional guys, as we are in basketball. So let's talk about a bit about the highlights. I have a few kids in American International School of Bucharest. I coach in basketball, and I asked them on a few occasions, you saw the game, let's say the Lakers game last night? And they are, no. How come? You love basketball. We didn't saw the game, but we saw the highlights afterwards on Facebook. And I realized that for them, 1.5 minutes of slam dunks, 3-pointers, assist passes, and all of that spectacular phases of the game is more important than to see 48-minute games. Is it for real? Because you're working with the kids, Howard. It's the same, yeah? So for them, it's more important to see, to ingest something very quick, to see all the show, and not to follow the whole game. So that's why we're going to do the highlights also, because we are doing it every final of the quarter. And we're going to produce also the highlights and to put it on websites afterwards. So this year we signed also the contract with sport.ro. Together, those 2 websites, one of the largest in Romania, and the oldest also, they are having like 500,000 viewers, unique viewers per day. So if out of them we're gonna have like 20-30,000 on each website, we are very near to approach to 1 point of rating, in TV rating. We have in Romania like 7.5 million TV sets, and the ratings are measured by more than 1,000 people meters. So it's more than 1,000 people meters in houses in order to to measure the ratings. But we have in Romania also 10 million Facebook users. So we try to reach them also. And I think that that mixture between traditional TV and live streaming is going to be successful for every kind of competition in order to reach everybody on the market. Because that kids that are trying to see only the highlights in basketball today, they are the customers for tomorrow.
Thank you very much for your insight, Radu. I'm sure we have opportunities to catch up on that point a bit later on. For those who were not here yesterday, Orsolya, could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, my background is in sport policy and EU project management. I'm working for a European sports NGO where I manage a project about social inclusion of migrants and refugees. And at the regional sport organization in Salzburg, I also manage a local pilot project about anti-radicalization and social inclusion with the help of sport. I also have some background about, I also have been dealing with interest representation and advocacy and the EU sport policy.
We're really looking forward to your stories later on. We have another Radu here, who's got loads of experience in sport industry.
Hi everybody, good morning. I'm Radu Restivan. I've been working during the business hours. I'm working in the sports industry for more than 10 years already. Now I own my agency, a sports strategy agency called the Sports Architects, and I'm working with brands, clubs, competitions and athletes. And besides working hours, I'm very close to the sweaty side of the sport. I'm a sports coach in athletics, indoor cycling, and I started a running community in Bucharest. If you're here in Bucharest on Tuesday night at 7:30, I invite you for a run in Herostro Park. That's it about the presentation. Ming?
Okay, so last for myself, my name is Ming. I'm originally from Beijing, the capital city of China. And I moved to North England in 2005 in a city called Manchester. Probably you've heard of from football media. And for the last 4 seasons, I've been working as Premier League correspondent for the broadcaster, TV broadcaster in China called Super Sports. And also from earlier this season, I started working as a marketing and media consultant for a small club called Burnley FC. Some of you might have heard of it because earlier this year, in the summer, Burnley just signed a record-breaking sponsorship deal with a company called Lava. Only 2 days ago, someone told me this word has a very different meaning in Romanian language. So I kindly asked our interpreters in the interpreting booth not to translate this part into Romanian. And what am I going to do is, wouldn't I go back to England and tell the sponsor, I know you've got a very good marketing plan for the UK market, for the Chinese market, but you have no chance in Romania. Right, okay. Let's go back to sports media. It's very interesting. In 21st century, everything's going digital now, and the media landscape is very different from 90s when I grew up. The people just don't have to rely on mass media TV to follow their favorite sports. What about the basketball, your favorite, your specialized area in Romania? How's it changed over the last 10, 20 years? Could you share us some insights into that, Radu?
For starters, let's say that in Romania, the NBA is not that huge as it is all around the world. So, because of the hour, for us it's 3 or 4 in the morning. So, let's say high school kids are waking up in order to see the games. But they are like, I don't know, 10,000, maybe 20,000. This is nothing for TV in terms of publicity. So that's why EuroLeague, it's much better viewed here in Romania. In terms of online streaming, as I remember, at first everything goes anything goes in terms of quality of the product. It was a web camera, and you see a basketball court, and maybe it was good enough for scouting, but not for viewers and for basketball lovers. And that's why we thought at first for the Basketball Federation about quality. How to produce a game to be like on TV. And we brought the second camera, then a third camera with the cameraman. I saw a few solutions about robotics cameras. They are not for viewers. They are only good for scouting, for coaches, because you're gonna see how they are playing, what combination they are making, but not for viewers. For basketball lovers, they need to have replays. You need to see, again, a very beautiful slam dunk. So in order to have a replay, you need to have a second camera or a third camera, a different camera angle. So that's why you cannot put something for the viewers with only one camera, in our opinion. And once your viewers, basketball lovers, once they get used with that kind of quality, you cannot lower the standard. So you need to do it in every kind of gym in Romania, for the first league at least. Because we are doing broadcast also for junior tournaments, and in women basketball also in first league. But we kind of agreed we never go lower than we are right now.
Because Radu, you've got the background knowledge from both traditional mass media and digital media. How much market share do you think from TV's perspective is affected by the new phenomenon, the online streaming?
And nowadays, the publicity goes mostly to the TV. So as percentage, let's say it's more than 80% to the TV and 20% for online streaming. But you can have some other benefits. Because I think kind of help each other if you have both. That's why also on Eurosport we are doing Stream Team, which is a talk show before the tennis tournaments. Because I'm a tennis commentator also for Eurosport. So when we have Grand Slams, we promote the games by starting each week with a talk show, and by doing previews for the semi-finals, finals on each Grand Slam at Eurosport. And they realized there on Discover, because they are the owners of Eurosport, they realized that by going on Facebook, on YouTube, they're gonna help the traditional TV. Everybody's watching the games on TV. Eurosport has also that Eurosport player, which is that app. You are able to see all the games, all the courts, like 17 courts per day. You can choose whatever you want, and to see Romanians tennis players' games, even if they are not broadcasted on TV.
I'm sure we can work out a synergy for both media channels, traditional TV and online streaming, rather than just computation. Orsolya, you origin from Hungary, but you're currently working for European Commission. You've got lots of experience from other European countries, especially from eastern part of Europe. Could you tell us something, especially for our Romanian audience, something we don't know about other Eastern European countries?
Well, when it comes to emerging markets, lessons from emerging countries, I can only tell what I've referred to yesterday, that these Eastern European countries have similar systems. So when you want to learn and want to bring in good practices from international good practices, the best way would be to look at the neighborhood countries, because those practices can be implemented one-on-one to your organization or to your business. And I can also share with you an example that the Poland, Slovakia, the Czech Republic and Hungary has a partnership. It goes back to really long history. It's called Visegrad Group, and although it's a political cooperation, they focus on sport cooperation, in the cooperation in the digital market, in e-commerce, in digitalization, in health, and also in the sports sector. So they're really trying this, learn from each other. They have started this initiative to learn from each other.
What about Romania, Radu? Have you ever heard of the project before?
Not so much, but I'm glad that we are here together and we get to learn new stuff.
Romania will join the project, the group one day.
We'll hope so, yeah.
Tell a little bit about your sports projects backgrounds. We know you have participated in many high-profile sports projects. Tell us a little bit about your experience.
I think I would like to come with some real examples for the Romanian market, as I see some trends happening in here in Romania, and I'm sure that most of you confront this kind of situation in day-by-day basis. So we have this situation, I think, where athletes, clubs and competitions would like to get money, and they need to get money from sponsorship. And I'm trying to be super realistic, because I like to be realistic. I think everybody's complaining in Romania that the budgets are low and they don't get any sources of income, and everybody's asking where to get the money from. This is the first question I get from anybody I work with, and everybody's like expecting this huge company to bring this huge contract and sponsor all the activities, and everybody's hoping for that. But the real situation, I'm gonna talk about the running market in Romania. It's just an example because I'm a runner, I love running, but I also interact with the business side of it. There are a lot of people doing great results in Romania, great runners producing great international results, but they don't get the money, and they are very frustrated. They don't get the money to support their projects, of course.
Are we talking about traditional track and field athletes?
Any type of people that run, from ultramarathon to short tracks, from 100 meter sprint to ultramarathon. And they live with this frustration that they don't get any money to support their activities, and they have to rely on the money that comes from the state, from the local councils, from non-business organizations. But they all want to get the money. So what happened, and everybody's looking to the international athletes, like, you know, Kilian Jornet, it's the most important trail runner in the world. Besides being the best trail runner in the world, do you know what Kilian Jornet did except training? He learned how to be a content creator. He, by himself, is able to create extremely valuable content for the brands that he's working with. That's why he, not only as an athlete, it's valuable to the brands, because he can also offer something else besides the result. It doesn't matter if you're a national champion or an international champion, if you don't have a community and a group of people that you interact constantly with through valuable content. I think this is a lesson that all athletes should know, that they have to develop certain activities that will help them be valuable for the sponsors. Even have a great community and keep it a constant communication with the community, create valuable content, and try to be more relevant than the results themselves. And brands are not looking just to put their logo on a t-shirt anymore. They are looking for stories, they are looking for projects that bring added value to the community. So I advise all people that I'm working with to start building projects that are more than I'm the superstar, I'm the European champion, I'm the world champion. Projects that bring added value to the society. That can be content projects that talk about the stories of athletes, can be sports academies, can be so many types of different projects, but go further than I'm the star, I want the money.
I have an example for an example of this, because although it's an Austrian organization, but the sport organization offers social media workshops for athletes to train them how to communicate, how to give interview, and how to use their social media profiles to promote themselves and also promote sports, just when it comes to experiences and examples.
And most athletes, they really think the results are enough, and they say, I'm always struggling to be the best, and that's perfectly normal. You have to struggle to be the best, but you also have to invest in communicating that you are the best. In case you cannot do this, try to hire or work with somebody that can tell your story, because behind every success, there's a great story, and the story is the one that sells, not the success itself.
Well, just going back to sponsorship, Radu just talked about a bit earlier on. What really surprised me over the last few years is the amount of sponsorship deals signed by football clubs and competitions with betting companies. And on Friday night, I was lucky enough to be invited to attend the Romanian league game between Dinamo Bucharest and another team called Sepsi. And I noticed the whole Romanian League One actually sponsored by a betting company. That tells us a little bit about the sports betting landscape in Romania. And also in England, there are more than half of the Premier League clubs actually carry a betting company's logo on their shirt, and more than 2/3 of the championship second-tier competition clubs have their sponsorship deals with a betting company. And also, if you have seen on TV, many clubs' shirts have a Chinese name, Chinese logo on their shirt. A good chance is those companies have a betting or gambling background, because China is literally the biggest market in terms of sports betting and gambling in the world. But what's interesting is it's not such a thing called betting company in China itself, because it's still illegal. It's not part of the communist ideology, and on paper China is still a communist country. But it's an open secret. China attracts so much attention from the betting companies around the world. So most of the many companies set their head offices around China, in Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Thailand, or even Vietnam and North Korea. They try to make money from Chinese customers. So what's it like in Romania for basketball market, Radu? Is it similar in basketball in Romania?
I told you before we started that this subject about betting, it's a bit of a delicate issue in sports. When you have a betting company on your shirt and on the TV screen are rolling 3 other different betting companies for the first league in Romania in football, it's a question mark for everybody. So in terms of basketball, I remember that we had, I think, a couple of games that were dropped for betting because they were raising a bit of a question mark by halftime. So they were banned from betting. It happens also in tennis, mostly in ITF. There are companies that are having scouts on court. They are supervising a game, tennis match, and they are telling them to stop the game in terms of betting. But everybody's betting on sport. As soon as they, you know the saying, as soon as the second card was invented, there was a race and eventually a bet on the race. So when you have two competitors, you're going to have a bet. And I think the market is huge. And it's good that they are bringing money to the sport, to the teams, to the televisions, but you need to take care about this overall.
I'm sure professional sports need the money from betting industry. It's a very difficult task for policymakers, regulators to regulate this market because the betting landscape changed dramatically from country to country, even within the European Union. So what about that from the European perspective? Is because you've got Australia, you've got lots of experience from different countries. How does the EU try to tackle this issue, or
there are regulations in this field, and corporate aviation market in Europe, they are going for regulations, and actually also in every country there are licensed providers as well. The European Sport Organization I'm working for is actually supported by the European lotteries, who are really go for licensed providers and really regulation and against the irregular betting and match fixing, irregular betting, and they also provide for the society. So they really want to, in a lot of European countries, it's the lottery who finances grassroots sports. So it's really important that it is regulated. The market is regulated. And when it comes to match fixing, the European Union actually supports cooperations and projects in Europe to stop this phenomenon or to fight against this match fixing. And I've also participated in a project back in 2013, 2014, when we organized workshops and seminars in 21 European countries, bringing together the stakeholders like the police force, sport organizations, decision makers in each country to really discuss about to bring this on the table, this important topic on the table.
Let's stay a bit for the match fixing and related with online streaming, live games. We managed to broadcast from China a game for a betting company with the low delay, so it was -1 second. It's very
live stream.
Yes, it's very quick. Usually it's more than 30 seconds or 1 minute 30 seconds. It was below 1 second the delay, so it helps a lot when you see the game really live and you don't see just a result on a website. You see the game live and you can realize if it's raising the question mark or not. So you can stop this or bet on it.
Yeah, in-play betting market is getting more and more popular over the last few years. And from my own personal experience, and because everyone knows that betting is illegal, still illegal in China, but China is a market you just simply cannot ignore. It doesn't matter if you like the country or not. So from what I know, for those betting companies registered overseas, how they attract players from China. So what they usually do is they try to set up a clean version of the website or social presence and in front of Chinese potential customers, and just talk about, they don't talk anything about betting, gambling on the website, just talk about sports, Premier League news, or sometimes even community projects to establish a positive image in front of prospective customers, and they try to use different technology to direct the people from the clean side to their real comprehensive website to register to play there. And It's a very interesting phenomenon. It's not just a betting company, actually. For international mainstream media, like the BBC, they even have their own version, their own clean version of website, BBC website in China, without mentioning any political news or just focus on the cultural side or economic news. Because we live in 21st century, in digital era, but it's still many things it's probably beyond your imagination. It's still, in terms of information sharing and knowledge transfer, knowledge sharing, it still works very different in different markets, different countries because of the social systems. What I'm really interested is how, because Eastern European countries had very similar modern history, especially before late 80s with China. So how did Eastern European countries transfer from that era to the modern day European countries, especially many of you already joined the European Union? Shall we start from Radu?
I would like to discuss a short idea about Romania and China as emerging markets. Imagine, let's say, a skier from Congo or Senegal, or pick any country where there is never snow, winning the Jamaica, winning the Super G in alpine skiing, or winning the Biathlon World Cup. It's like crazy, right? It will probably never happen anytime soon. But here's an interesting fact about China. This year, I'm going to bring another example from running, because I'm happy to bring this example about China in running. A trail runner, a mountain runner from China, winning a race at UTMB. For those of you who don't know, UTMB, it's like the World Cup of trail running. And a runner from China winning a race there was like a Jamaican winning the Biathlon World Cup. And now it happened. And now China is an emerging market in trail running. And in terms of emerging markets, it's very important to capitalize on the momentum. If something great happens, it has to be communicated and grow upon as soon as possible. So now China is facing a huge opportunity. I've been involved in the international trail events, yeah, and I have seen that the growing public of amateurs from China spending money to travel all around the world to run this kind of races, it's growing and growing and growing. There is a huge market there. Now they have a superstar which gained results in August this year, and I think this is a great moment to build a totally new market for trail running in China as an emerging market. And imagine China as an emerging market for a sport like trail running. Imagine like 1% of the people in France do trail running. Imagine 1% of people in China doing the same thing. This is crazy, and this shows how important it is to build on the momentum. So in any emerging market, if you face a great result in your sport, don't expect things to happen by themselves. Try to build on them and capitalize as much as possible.
A very good example, because I remember one of my friends is a huge fan of marathon run, and he participated not just a marathon in Beijing, he also went to Seoul, Tokyo, even London for amateur marathons. I'm sure it's a huge market. There's lots of things we can learn from each other, lots of stories we can share from each other, because Eastern Europe is the biggest emerging market in European Union, and China is the biggest emerging market in the world. And I'm sure from this session we can hopefully we can benefit from this session, from those stories we just told. Let's give more max to our audience. I'm sure some of you have questions or some interesting stories to share with us. Yeah. We have the first gentleman raise his hand.
I'll play Oprah. Right here.
Hi. A question for Radu. About the TV streaming, the matches. How involved are the clubs in the first league, and were there any before this? They would try to make this thing happen?
have to say that at first we had that contract with Digisport for all the games. We had also a talk show on Digisport. 2 years before, we signed only for 3 games, and suddenly the other teams remain outside. So they began to be interested to see the games, their games, on websites. So first we were on our YouTube, on the Romanian Federation Basketball YouTube and Facebook. We signed a contract with ProSport, and suddenly they called us at Federation. Oh, that's good. We saw that we are on homepage on prosport.ro. I'm sure that by joining also sport.ro, which is the Pro TV website for sport, it will be for them very helpful, and they will try to bring some sponsors to the website live streaming games. That's for sure, it will happen.
But did they had the initiative when they saw, okay, only 3 games, what we gonna do? They called you or they said, okay, let's set up something like this, or they just waited?
No, we were up on a wave after Eurobasket 2017, and the idea mainly was ours. Our president, Mr. Horiapon, the president of the federation, says, let's do an online TV for the federation. So the idea was the federation idea, not the clubs, that's for sure.
Radu, you've dealt with the lots of sponsorship deals. Have you attracted any interest from potential sponsors from betting industry?
No, and I haven't worked yet with any player from the sporting betting industry. Oh, that's a short answer. No, I'm sorry.
It depends on the industry, because football and basketball really they attract lots of interest from betting industry. Okay, the next question.
We will have it on the federation hopefully for the next season. So I think we're going to have betting companies, sports betting companies.
So let's see how it impacts the basketball industry.
Yes, because you see, in terms of sports rating in Romania, we have first football, then is Simona Halep, and then is everything else. So mainly sports that a ball is involved, like basketball, handball, I don't know. We don't have any water polo anymore. Not to talk about ice hockey, but this is the scale. First of all is Steaua football, then Simona Halep, and then everything else.
Thank you very much, Radu. Let's see if we have more questions. The lady in the middle, please.
Yes, hello. I have a question for Radu. Did you intend to promote your talk shows in other TV brands? Like, let's take it for example, to promote them in all of them in this country?
You meant talk show for basketball or for something?
Yes, yeah, for the sport that you're representing.
First of all, after they saw the quality of our product, live games on YouTube and Facebook for each round in basketball, we had a couple of televisions that wanted to broadcast that game. And I don't know if you know, but a broadcast on satellite was made with some other kind of cameras, of lenses, for first. But in fact, the live streaming was that good that they wanted to put that game together with our commentary. In fact, for the federation, we are 2 commentators. I'm commentating the main games, and my colleague Traian Racu is commentating the women games. And they wanted to have it on TV. So we're gonna take the product by itself with the graphics and everything, and we wanted to put it on TV. But we didn't want it. So we didn't think that it's in our favor to do this.
What What about TV news to promote players, basketball?
It will be a very huge effort for a federation to build like a TV station for the news. I don't know.
Not to build a TV station, to try to communicate with the other news persons who promote that.
For basketball, in order to produce the news, it's a huge effort for a post-production effort other than, because you need to be in the gym. Basically, we are doing remote production. And it's the first company that is doing this in Romania, Bliss Technology. Because, let's say it's a weekend, and we have Saturday game in Cluj, and Sunday in Oradea. I have to commentate both games, and I'm not with the cameraman. I'm in Bucharest, where everything is done. Graphics, scoring, the bug with the score, and the commentator. So we are based in Bucharest, and only the camera goes on the other cities. We can do it for one game, but I don't have a reporter to be an HD. Maybe we're gonna have it if we're gonna have the money, enough money to do this.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Oh, here we go.
Okay, for Radu about basketball, very strong work you are doing in digital, congratulations. There is a big watch out, however. 3 months ago, I suggested to one of our clients, a do-it-yourself retailer, to join the basketball league and to become a sponsor. The first thing they've done, they checked with the media agency the ratings of the basketball championship, and the final between Steaua and Oradea, basically two very strong teams, and Steaua Bucharest got 0 rating. So not 1, not 0.1, but 0. And that was the end of the story. And they even looked at me like I have a secret agenda to put basketball on their...
The final was on Digisport and the rating was 0?
0, yeah.
No way.
I will share with you the numbers, but...
No, we had like, so, on web we have
okay,
like...
the question was...
on web we have like between 20,000 and 30,000 people watching. I don't know if they are watching the entire game. As you know, on web you cannot check this. But for TV, you can check it. And as far as I know, I was the general producer for Digisport for 7 years. So basketball was like between 0.8, and I'm going to tell you what does it mean, 0.8 until 1.5 ratings for the big games, like Cluj, like Oradea, like Steaua. 1 point of rating in television means more or less something below 100,000 people viewers, okay? Because we have like between 7.5 million, 8 million TV sets, it's about 80,000 people watching. So, as far as I know, I was there until 2016, a rating for a final in basketball was more or less around 1 point of rating. That cannot be 0, not at all. Maybe it was Steaua against Dinamo Football on the other channel, and Manchester against Real Madrid on the other channel, and Formula 1 on the other channel, and that was on Digisport 4. It might be the case.
Actually, the question was more like, what are you doing in order to work with the business community to share what you are doing
That was
right?
I was telling all that morning. We tried to build on websites, because if you have like 50,000 people watching on web, and also 50,000 people watching on TV, you have like 1 point of rating watching on the weekend for basketball.
For sure.
So I think this is the client. If you see, let's say, tennis is the same.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's 0 basketball, and I just talk about how data is measured and what the clients, the potential sponsors are looking at. So I'm not saying that it is 0, because the way it is measured, when you have 150,000.
their product benefit and help them be more close to the audience they were referring to. I hope that was accurate.
Thank you very much for all of your contributions. Just before we finish, I would like to say thank you to our interpreters in the interpreting booth. Because my first job after university was a translator, I know how difficult, how challenging the job is. On many different occasions, especially for international conferences, the quality of the conference pretty much depends on the interpreting quality. So let's show some appreciation to them.
Oh, yes, all right. Then we just have a few trinkets on behalf of SBC. Yeah.
Well, I didn't expect this. Such a privilege. It says thank you for being the first speaker to finish your session on time.